Happy Saturday, and welcome to the Ram Ashram Satsang Weekend Workshop, where you'll learn a modern Satsang method for obtaining peace, light, and love in your life. My name is Eddie, and I will be introducing the facilitator for today's event. But first, I'd like to give you a brief overview of this Satsang session. If you direct your attention towards your screen, you'll see the first element is Satsang. Satsang is a scientific method whereby we may obtain peace, light, and love in our life. It requires no physical skill, spiritual accomplishment, or meditation experience to begin this practice. Satsang consists of two words, Sat and Sang. Sat means positive energy, and Sang means to be with or to be in the presence of. Therefore, the word Satsang means to be in the presence of positive energy. The next element is meditation. Meditation is an important part of Satsang. When we meditate, we will draw consciousness from worldly objects and direct it inwards to focus on a single thought. In doing so, our minds become calm and our thoughts become pure, thereby allowing us to obtain higher states of consciousness, such as enlightenment, peace, light, and love. Inner orientation. There are two types of satsang, inner satsang and outer satsang. An example of outer satsang would be chanting or attending pilgrimages. When we practice outer satsang, we have the potential to change our behavior, but only through the practice of inner satsang can we obtain higher states of consciousness, such as enlightenment, peace, light, and love. The satsang that you will learn today is an inner satsang where we meditate in silence. Group session. These weekend workshops are structured for group participation. When we meditate as a group, our focus is improved and our personal progress along our spiritual path is expedited. By regularly attending these weekend workshops, the benefits of group participation are amplified. Joy and inner happiness. All beings wish to experience joy. Joy is the eternal longing of the soul, but only through the practice of inner satsang can we obtain a joyous state. Each time we practice satsang, our inner happiness gradually increases, ultimately culminating in a state of joy, which we experience 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The agenda for today consists of 3 sessions: the informative session, the practice session, and the interactive session. During the informative session, a lecture will be given about a satsang topic, the founder, or some relevant spiritual topic. During the practice session, you'll receive instructions on how to meditate, followed by a period of practice. During the interactive session, you have the opportunity to ask questions, or there'll be a panel discussion. And now, I'd like to introduce the facilitator for today's event. He has over 40 years of satsang experience. He's the grandson of Guru Maharaj, the founder of Ram Ashram Satsang. He was born into a satsang family where he experienced his family members obtain states of enlightenment and lead lives of peace, light, and love. At an early age, he began traveling with the mission throughout India, facilitating satsangs. And during that time, he witnessed the positive effects that satsang could have on mankind. And upon arriving to the United States, both he and his wife continued to facilitate satsangs for local satsangees. He has led teams of satsang members in translating important satsang literature into English and has worked tirelessly to make satsang more accessible to Western and English-speaking audiences. He currently travels throughout the United States, India, and England, facilitating satsangs while maintaining his duties as a husband, a father, and an IT executive. Today, he will teach us a rare and ancient form of satsang as taught by Guru Maharaj. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Sanjeev Kumarji.
So happy Saturday, everyone. I'm still soaking up the last weekend satsang that we had here in the basement where I'm sitting. So we discussed something last. I wanted to go over that a little bit again because as I was talking about traveling. one of my mentors, Panditji Maharaj, who met my grandfather, Guru Maharaj, um, fairly early, and later on he traveled throughout India, um, almost like 20, 25 days in a month. And because of him, all major cities in India have this event. Uh, and I think the approach that Guru Maharaj took was that, yes, meditation is difficult, but um, this has taken me to higher ground. So whatever I have learned, I can share with you. When you sit in a group, the group becomes a support system, as I think Eddie was pointing out. It's a collective energy. So not only effortlessly you uplift yourself, but um, you know there is um, it almost becomes like a support system, but the uh, the group is actually um, implementing uh, was what kind of was refined. So first practiced, experienced uh, by Guru Maharaj, and then he refined it and packaged it for a group, um, you know, experience. And one of the things that I realized when I was about why we all are not um, at peace in a way that, like electricity or water, on demand. When we need it, we get it. Why this is so difficult. And one of the things is that mind plays all sorts of games with us, and even like resting the mind for a little bit is a huge challenge. Um, and even scientists did not understand how we can achieve, um, physical rest, physical comfort, physical this, physical that. We understand very, very, very well. But when it comes to how and when the brain rests, because when we are physically resting, your brain is still at work. And so the more you uh, understand that, so actually I was reading about that, and when you play music, that's one way. So when you concentrate, there are certain activities around concentration, like playing music, like meditation, which actually provides rest to the brain. But then, if you want, even for a moment, to become thought free, um, this, particular, uh, you know, inner organ that we have is just not, uh, you know, it something that does not come. Uh, Forget about naturally. I think it's doesn't come to that state at all. Um, so in ancient times, what happened was like, okay, somebody who learns that trick would then uh, teach to people who are interested. And that, I think, that is where the concept of guru evolved. And if I take it a little further, so there are two types of meditations, and I think Eddie referred to it. One is outer meditation, and there is inner meditation. And the difference is that outer meditation is an activity which helps concentration, And then you go into inner meditation, which first would be mindfulness. And then, if you intend, eventually you can also get to a state of thought-free state of your mind, which I think, one, it's non-trivial, and two, um, I mean, a lot of people just don't want to get to that far. Um, and then if those who want to do not know how. So what recently I was translating some work, Guru Maharaj, and what I realized was that he doesn't say it that way, but he, uh, you know, engages um, people who come to satsang in a process, um, and there is a method. But then he also, what he did was he helped people through the nuances and techniques to get to that thought-free state. So, and Eddie kind of referred to in one of the discussions we had in the past few weeks, and uh, it's like Guru Maharaj experienced it, he learned it, and then he packaged it in a way. It doesn't call out that way, but getting to a thought-free state, which is absolutely and totally non-trivial, in this method, you could potentially get to that. And it's more of the environment, the ambience, and the method has this inbuilt. Um, and what if I look at the um, folks throughout, my growing up, I have seen documented or I have heard from other practitioners. It was like, you go through certain stages and then you experience this. So it becomes like my eldest uncle, Guru Maharaj's eldest son, um, he actually once mentioned that he kind of created a kindergarten approach to meditation where you come in, nobody asks for any registration, nobody asks for any prerequisites, any even inquisitiveness or any devotion, dedication, nothing. It's like just come, join in, and if you are uh, like if you want to go to these deeper states, his process and his documentation and his hand holding would take you there. Um, so uh, it's far, far um, um, deeper than what it appears. You know, um, so Panditji Maharaj, Guru Maharaj, uh, you know, uh, somebody who actually took the mission forward in India in a huge, huge, huge way in the last century. So he talks about like what is meditation and what does it achieve. The question has, come up again and again. The various methods of meditation, um, you know, there are so many variations and techniques. Some suggest controlling the mind, some uh, you know, are more breathwork oriented. Other, concentrate on one point and, mesmerization, etc. So there is also focus on hard, but there are methods where you focus on the forehead, in between the eyes, above the eyes. So Guru Maharaj revived and tweaked a unique system, and he, so Um, and and he actually mentions it, documents it, and emphasizes that 1 hour in a day. So even if you are like a very, very dedicated person, want to go all the way to the target state where love, light, and peace actually embodies, like this transcendental energy embodiment happens. Uh, all he says is you with 1 hour um, a day, rest of the day, you do what you got to do in terms of your duties. Half hour in the morning, half hour in the evening, preferably, but anytime. So devoting a small amount of time every day to a practice where one tries to detach oneself from the worldly affairs, attempts to stop the energy of the mind. Um, so if you get, if you try the external and internal activities of the mind, uh, you know, are controlled through this meditation. And, so um, so if one wants to get to know oneself and realize one's inner self, one has to learn to focus away from the external world, focus inwards, which we talk about in every session, literally. And if one wants to really enjoy um, the silence of and you basically learn how to stop generating sound so internal sound that disturbs your inner peace. So let us think about uh, you know uh, it's like, how is sound created? So if you want complete silence within you, think about how disturbance or sound is created. And it is like, think of like two objects striking each other, and that's how the sound is generated. That's where the uh, you know think of a bell, or and until and unless you hit that bell, or um, so it's uh, the tongue, the lips, the throat. uh, so it's like, so he goes deeper into that whole process, and let's practice this today. um, it's like uh, even the unconscious or subconscious mind should stop generating this uh, you know this disturbances, which um, you know create um, or disturb the inner peace. So that's where we are headed. That's what we'll practice. That's what we do. So um, we'll get into some of the nuances. We discussed it last week, but I really found it fascinating. So wanted to bring that up again. Um, so let's get into the practice now. Um, Eyes lightly closed, still and relaxed posture. And as we talk about that, it's um, both those activities, uh, you know, actually distract our mind. Here, we want to first concentrate our mind and then see if we can stop any disturbances, even internally. So the first two steps help the external uh, or reduce the external disturbances. So sensory input to the eyes, and every time your body moves, your mind moves with it. So uh, still in relaxed posture, eyes lightly closed. And now create a very uplifting, very positive, very uh, deeply affecting positive backdrop, powerful backdrop. Um, to our meditation. That is this concept of transcendental energy, which transcends the world, which is, think of cosmic energy, or source, all energies. And this transcendental energy is not far away. It's right here, right now. And we first think of it at the present and connection to it. And so this transcendental energy in form of light is right here, right now, entering our heart, enlightening our heart, and then distributing throughout our body, and hence we get completely. Now, what typically happens is that we, um, we try, and because we're so used to doing something, we also want to continue to do that. And hence, either inadvertently or because of this habit, mind wanders away somewhere else. And then we try to do breath work, something, think about something. The whole idea here is thinking and doing. You get to just observing this transcendental energy in form of light that's entering your heart, distributing throughout your body, and you're becoming one with this light. So mind wanders away. Don't try other things, at least during this meditation. You can do it before and after, to chant, to, music, mindfulness, whatever else works for you, that's fine. But at this moment, for this practice, for this meditation, the focus is on observing this transcendental energy in form of light that's entering your heart, distributing throughout your body, and you are becoming completely and totally immersed in this light. We'll start with music, and that helps concentration. Then music fades away, and we go deep into this silent meditation on transcendental light, and then we transition out with music again. Let's start now. So happy Saturday again, and glad that we are here in Satsang. And just to wrap up the thought from what we were discussing before meditation, I'll continue, but we can uh, then go open it up for thoughts, comments, and questions. So our mind has this tendency to generate continuous barrage of thoughts. Um, so freeing ourselves of that is very, very difficult. We all know that. And um, I mean, we're so used to that it doesn't bother us most of the time. But then there are um, at least get some moments free of that intent uh, with this meditation. So because we're so used to this barrage or multitude of thoughts, so the method we use here is to first go from this non-ending uh, series of thoughts to a single thought. And a single thought of our own choice allows um, to hold on to that, like giving it a toy. And typically, if you look at the other types of meditation, there's some kind of um, repetitive activity or music or something that attracts the mind, or uh, basically our entire focus that particular activity. That's uh, the basis of most of the meditations. In our practice, one imagines sitting in front of the source of this divine transcendental energy, and that it is entering our heart and illuminating the heart. So the task given to our mind and to keep it busy, uh, saving it from inner and outer uh, disturbances. So gradually, the mind would get in tune to hold this thought. So that's step one. So we start with this, in the traditional satsang, we start with a slow prayer um, and a still posture, and gradually the body settles down, uh, and then we focus our mind on this observance of this transcendental energy. Gradually, this process leads to a state where one becomes completely oblivious of this thought, this observance, and this source of light. So you forget, what you're meditating on. You forget about yourself. You forget about your environment. So when this happens, one uh, finds in a unique blissful state. So the inner words and thoughts sees you know um, and then you actually listen to things that you had never heard before. And when I was very, very young, uh, you know, one of my um, cousins actually was elder and introduced me to laughing yoga. And there was one part of that, like before or after, where you would just listen to distant sounds. So when you do that, um, I found that I actually can hear certain sounds, which, you're so busy. One of the folks who used to join this session here in person in Virginia um, used to ask me, like, on the way here, did you see the mountains? And I'm like so busy talking to people or just in my own thoughts that never occurred to me that, I could observe those. So that's how we live. So when you're able to hear your own inner voice, I mean, that itself is a phenomenal experience. This state is beyond anything that can be expressed in words. One cannot fully understand at this time, because understanding itself involves thinking, and we are talking of being free of thoughts. So it transcends that. And one can relate to this bliss only when one comes out of this state, just like the content of a dream is only appreciated when the dream is over. So anyway, so it's just stepping back from the clutter that we live in, a whole different experience emerges, and that's what we refer here as the state where there is abundance of light, love, and peace. On that note, let's open this up for any thoughts, comments, questions, and happy Saturday, everyone. So Arvindji, how are you? How are things?
Pranam Puji Bhaiya, Namaskar, and happy Saturday to everybody. Thank you. I'm blessed to join you and everybody today again. Just a few thoughts came to me as I was reading Param Puji Papaji's translation from Sadhan. If I may read a few lines. So this was published in June 2020. Forgetting one's objectives that obscure like a curtain that falls between a person and that spiritual bliss. So it's very interesting. He talks about, he says, in our meditation, the aim is to remove all thought from our mind. Yet we begin to argue with our own mind as it starts to wander and bring in various thoughts during the meditation. Our aim is then changes to fighting with our own thoughts to try and suppress them. Due to the strife with our own minds, we are then unable to achieve a state of mind of inner peace without thought. This wastes a lot of our precious time as well. The state of mind where many thoughts come to our mind during meditation is in fact an important circumstance, as this process helps cleanse. So as this process helps cleanse our sacraments or sanskara and purifies our minds. So that was, I found that, and a few more lines. He goes on to say, in our satsang, there is a constant stream of love that flows. There is neither a guru nor a disciple. Everyone is like a family. Love enables others to be seen as one's own family. In this satsang, people do not see who is who, but simply visualize all as part of a large satsang family. Therefore, it should be our aim to increase selfless love to such an extent that everybody appears to be like one's family. And I think that's what you demonstrate, if I may, Puja Bhaiya. Thank you, and blessed to be here.
Yeah, I mean, this meditation, the backdrop of this transcendental energy, what I've learned through, practicing this is that eventually you see that energy everywhere and in everyone. So, how do you differentiate one's energy from the others, including the mentors I had and the people who come to join satsang, they're all pretty much made up of the same energy. It's just, like sometimes I see my kids struggling with several things, and one of them is that they don't realize who they are really, and love, light, and peace is us. So we sometimes, I don't know, it's culturally, sometimes, people say that, to be humble is to be weak. And it's like the most powerful person, when they are humble, you see a whole different perspective. So the more powerful you are, the more humble you ought to be to do what you ought to do. Otherwise, we all see in the movies and stories, etc., in history that, the more power you have, the more crazy you get. All right. Anything else? It's on the top of the hour now. Here, so Eddie, shall we wrap up?
Yeah, I would say there are a few things, a couple of things I wanted to mention. And one is that if we find ourselves not having having time to do this practice, we should remind ourselves that it's our obligation to ourselves, actually, to make ourselves better personalities, to experience those higher states of our consciousness, as it is our own duty. Often in life we put other people's needs before ours, which is a mistake sometimes, and well, probably all of the times. But we do so believing that it's in our best interest, but it really isn't sometimes. And what I've seen in some cases is, there's this laying on of guilt that if you don't spend more time attending to my needs, that, you don't really love me, kind of thing. And this is a pure manipulation, because the truth is, if the shoe was on the other foot, these same people who we devote all of our time to and our resources to don't reciprocate that. Even though they say so with words, but indeed it's definitely not the truth. So we just have to remember in life that we have a responsibility to ourselves to keep evolving as human beings, or try to be human beings and achieve those higher states of consciousness. And then the second thing I wanted to add was that, as we do this practice and we reach these higher states of consciousness, it is in a sense a healing. And people always want to know, how am I doing? How am I doing? And the one case is to really just sort of look at yourself, and do you feel like you're healing? And by this, I mean, just not just in the physical sense, but in the spiritual sense as well. Yes, physically, do you feel like you have more energy and you're stronger, but mentally and um,
Did we lose Eddie?
can you hear me?
It's choppy.
Oh, okay. So I'll just wrap up.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I'll just wrap up. Yeah, so basically, as we practice this system and reach higher states of consciousness, to measure our progress, we should consider things like Are we practicing harmlessness? Are we becoming even keeled, or experiencing states of equanimity where we are not so moved by positive things or negative things in our life? And do we have compassion for others? And those are definitely quality signs of character that we should look for, but they gave us a good indication of where we are on our path to reaching these higher states of consciousness, which are, in a sense, part of the evolution that we must participate in.
Totally agree. Absolutely. So take care, everyone. Glad that we were here in Satsang, and we'll see you all soon. Be with light, love, and peace. And here, light is knowledge, wisdom, and love is the unconditional, selfless love, and peace that is like available on demand, and it's in abundance, like the ocean of peace. So think of those things, embody those things, enrich yourself and enrich your environment. So see you all soon.
Thank you,
Bye.
Bye. Have a good day, everyone.
Bye, Paula, Taru.
Bye.
Sangeeta.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Namaste, Bhaiya.
Namaskar. Omkar, Mahima ji, Poonam ji.